where your deepest heart's desires become reality. At Set to Love, we offer strategies and ideas on how you can stay out of crazy town. See, your human experience is meant to be lived with meaning, purpose, and creativity. You are here to contribute through your essence. We are best friends, moms, entrepreneurs, and above all, find our flow in assisting you to find yours. We come together weekday mornings to bring you ideas to fall deeper in love with your life and the journey that you are on. Take what works and ditch the rest, and always stay set to love. Thank you for being a part of this community. We're all designed to live in flow. So let's go.
Good morning, everyone. I'm so excited to be here, excited for our special guest. Her name is Alicia Ayala. She's a transformational coach and she's amazing. And today we're going to be talking about aging authentically, which is right up my alley. And I have to say, I'm the one who asked her to come back. Being almost 60, I think this is something that I really need to hear. So I'm personally so very excited for her today. But before we start, just want to say good morning to my best friend and welcome Alicia today.
Perfect.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are we going to start this, right?
Shelley, you were so nervous, and that was the most beautiful opening. I am so proud of you. Great job.
Oh, my gosh, it's so hard.
Good morning, Alicia. No!
Just so you know, Shelley, like, it didn't look hard at all. It looked like flawless.
You know what I did, though? And everybody's probably thinking, what are they talking about? But, you know, somebody has to start the show for our viewers. And I always don't want to start the show because I just compare myself with how wonderful Eva is at doing this. So when it comes to a guest, I feel like they deserve so much. And so when I was told to do this morning, I thought, okay, how can I do this really well this morning so I can make Alicia feel so welcome? But you know what? I just spoke from my heart. So it was really easy. And when you just speak from your heart, it just comes out. And so I really do want to welcome you today. And I'm so excited that you're here and you're coming back for the second time. And I'm hoping you're going to come back a third time because you're amazing.
Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate the warm welcome. And I felt it. I did feel it from your heart.
Yay. So we're going to be talking about aging authentically, and I'm just really excited and wondering how you're going to introduce that. So how are you going to introduce that today?
So aging authentically. So I thought about this a little bit, and I think if I could define aging authentically, it's about growing in wisdom through experience without confinement or restriction to fulfill your truest evolution. And that's like how I would define it.
Wait. Can you tell us that again? Say that again. Let me just take in like each part one at a time. Okay, go for it.
So aging authentically is about growing in wisdom through your experience without confinement or restriction to fulfill your truest evolution.
Wow. You know, the part that I really like, and I've listened to videos on aging, and, you know, some people come at it in a funny way and some are serious. But I think the part that really just hit me is just the confinement. We have so much confinement, worrying about what other people think, and just all these boundaries that we have. So in that definition, I would say that would be the one thing I would want to work on, is just being able to be free of that.
And I do think that that is one of the biggest things that impact all of us. Like, and it's, in aging, it happens, I think, at all of the various milestones. But I think it kind of hits us when you hit 20, when you hit 30. For some reason, again, as a society, those are these big things, and I remember when I hit 40, people asked me, oh my gosh, do you feel different? Because I had always been somebody, I would say, that like age, I didn't really, like, I never focused on age. I always focused on growing and having experience. and age was like never a thing for me, but it is such a thing in our society. But I remember when I hit 40 and everybody was like, "Oh my gosh, so are you feeling it now?" And I was like, I don't feel this sort of restriction. I just don't. What I want to continue to do is show up always like who I am. I would say the one thing that does continue to happen, like as you hit these ages, I think the confinement or the societal thoughts and things that were sold certainly are things that come into my head. Like, should I dress a certain way? Or, do I have to stop wearing certain things? Or how should I be behaving? And then the moment I recognize that those thoughts are coming in my head, I'm like, no, but let's let go of that. Who am I? How do I want to be as a 40-year-old female mother? So I do think it comes back to letting those things go. I think it's important to notice that they're there, but then let them go and really hone in on like who you are and what you want.
Okay, but let's take it a step further, okay? Because I've never worried about my age my whole life. I just, even at 40, even at 50, I have to say, I didn't really worry. I thought 50 was great. And it's not that 60, come March, I'll be 60. And it's not that 60 is going to be a bad thing. I don't really even care about the number. But when you get to be 60, physically, things look different. The elasticities in your arms start to go and you get a little bit of crepiness and your neck starts to sag a little bit and you have more lines that show up. And these are things that are not in your control. And so that's what I mean about gracefully saying to yourself how to accept yourself and love yourself for all your life experiences, accepting that I'm a grandmother now, and that those aren't the things I want to be known for or loved for. But I have to say, moving forward each day, there are things that it does bother me. It bothers me that I always had great arms. I don't have great arms anymore. And it's just, that's the kind of help that I would like to get to where you could not have that be a burden, just an acceptance of that's what life is. That's where everyone's going to be. But I don't think you can really relate when you're 40 or 50 what it is to be when your body starts doing things that no matter how much you exercise, whatever you do, it's not going to change it. It's just part of life. And that's what I wonder what you have to say about.
Mm-hmm. And I do agree, like at 40, I can't relate to what's happening to you at this stage. But I think that, in each of the stages, there are things like that are happening, right? There are gray hairs that are happening, and I'm just going to be completely honest, right? There are chin hairs that are happening that I just like, I can't do anything about. I think part of it is accepting it for sure. I think that there's also this other side of it. Like there's a certain portion that we should accept. Yes. And love, right? Like love each stage. I also think that there are some of these things that there is new science coming out. And again, I'm not saying that, we should want to change, but I think we should always want to be the best version of ourselves.
Yes.
Right. So whatever that looks like, I was talking to somebody the other day who, is in her 60s. She's not working out. She's, like there's no movement. There's, she's really feeling down. But like, that's something she can change, right? Mm-hmm. She can get movement in, when we started talking about her nutrition, she's not nourishing her body, right? So there are things that we can change. So I think it's knowing like what are the areas where you have control, because I think it's upon all of us to take responsibility for our lives and not just say there's nothing we can do, but where are the areas that you can control? And then what are the pieces that you just need to fall in love with and embrace, right? Like I'm going to probably have these chin hairs for the rest of my life. And I will admit, like, do I love it? No, but I think more people should talk about chin hairs. So like, when it starts happening, people aren't like, oh, okay, like this is normal. This is a normal part of, and things change. Yes.
Well, what I tell myself now, though, is that I am going to be the most loving, adorable grandma ever at any age, whether it be 60 or 70, and never give up. I'm a primper, I'm a girly
Yeah.
girl, so I'm never going to stop trying. But at the same time, my vision of myself, even 10 years from now, is I just want to be known for being a very loving person. And when you have love inside and what you put out into the world is really where your beauty is anyway. So I don't really want to rely on just looks and crepey skin and all of that. So I'm growing with it. I'm doing everything I can to just accept where I am. But I'm still very excited that you're here those are some really positive things that you're saying.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I do think, there is loving who you are inside, but I think it's also like this continual evolution, right? And continuing to find things. I think the other thing that happens as we get older, whatever stage it is, we tend to lose, or we grow out of things, but we don't find the other things that kind of fill us up.
Mm.
And we, in some cases, I think we stop looking, right? You hit a certain age and you're like, okay, well, I don't really, I no longer want to do these other things, but I haven't found sort of these new things that fill me up. So I think it's also about this continual evolution of, what are the things that fill you up? And it continues to grow and change and shift, and trying to find those things. So for you, you talked about, right, becoming a grandmother. And like that is something that you're really embracing. And for other people, if you don't have that, maybe it's reading, or maybe it's learning to play the guitar, or maybe it's picking up some, I don't know, I'm in Minnesota, so I'm just going to throw out snowshoeing. But, finding the things, I think it's oftentimes about finding the things that give us and bring us joy. And you kind of think like those are things that happen when you're younger, but like we should never stop the search for the things that bring us happiness, because that is like that fills us up and allows us, right, to then put that back out into the world as well.
Alicia, that is so true. I find that with my mom. I remember asking her, so what do you, she's just kind of doesn't have a lot of stuff that she does. And I said, what are your interests? Like, what do you like to do? Because I still have a sister at home. My mom, I have a sister who's 21. So my mom has one more kid at home. She's had 7. And I said, what are you going to do when Paige leaves? And she's like, I don't even want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it, because she's so defined as being a mom and having that embody everything that she is. And I said, you need to figure out what you like and what your interests are and have something else. So like you can, it's like we go through life and you're a kid and you go through school, and then you have to hit these milestones, and you get married and you have kids, and then you raise those kids, and then you retire. And then, but what if life wasn't like that? What if you were constantly in school? Like the beginning of the sentence that you said, the wisdom through experiences and bringing in things. And so discovering what those new things are, going back to school to start new things. And like you said, having that joy in your life every day. I think when you're focused on that, you're not so attached to these identities of who you used to be. You're not stuck at your 20-year-old version of yourself or your 35-year-old version of yourself, and you're able to move with who you are today. Rose said that she's 52 and happy that letting my gray hair come in feels empowering because it shows my wisdom. That was one of the things you talked about too, the wisdom that comes with being older and having these experiences. And then she also said, I'm getting back into painting to bring joy. Yay,
I love Rose. I just love Rose. She's so great.
We got to meet her. So I'm curious from you, when you talked about the first part of that sentence, if you could read it to us again, but you talked about experience, wisdom through experiences.
Yep. Aging authentically, growing in wisdom through experiences, and I think, again, as we age, we have these, I do think there's such a restriction on what society says that looks like. And almost that there's a dead end when you hit a certain age. And I just don't believe that's true. And I do think, the more women at 40 and 50 and 60 that are just stepping into being themselves will give other people permission. Oftentimes we are looking for archetypes within our society to give us permission to be who we feel. But if we don't see anybody, it sometimes shuts it down. And I think, Shelley being this beautiful, primping grandmother, right? Is that what you said?
Yep, I'm a primper.
And hosting a podcast, you're giving so many other women that are 50, 60 kind of like, right? It doesn't end. You're just getting started.
Not. Absolutely not. And it's funny, it is empowering when you start. I went and bought, or a secondhand, but I went and bought a Bob jogger, so that when I take my granddaughter for walks, now I can jog and push her in the stroller. And so it's true, the exercise and just doing what you can do and being outside in nature really does make you just so appreciative that you have legs that are going to even allow you to jog. And then you hear the ocean and, the beautiful sun, even if it's a little cool. It's just, what do we have? Let's just go with that instead of, what's, taking over. It's not taking over. It's really just how you want to look at it. And so that's what I've been trying to do, to not be hard on myself. And sometimes when I do, this is a little secret for some people if they do this. When I look in the mirror and I see how my neck is getting older and I really don't like it, I say to myself when I'm saying mean things, I say, you know what? That is so mean. Would you say that to another person? My self-talk now is pretend I was this little girl and I want to be kind to myself. Don't beat yourself up, because my neck is not going anywhere. It is here to stay. And, I can only do what I can do and be what I can be. And so I don't want to worry about it anymore. I just want to move forward happily, do the things, and be with Harper, my little grandbaby. She just makes me so happy.
I think that at any age, there are sort of like these, what I call habits of the soul and body. And I think at any age, these are really, really powerful. And I think as kids, we do these, but as we continue to age, they start to kind of, we drop them. But like the movement, I think getting movement in on a regular basis is really important. Your body was meant to move. It's how you flow energy through your body and move and process things. And so movement is super critical. I think we've done a disservice by talking about movement as exercise or about losing weight. Movement is so critical. I think nourishing our body with real, true foods and things that allow us to think more clearly, to heal, to live our most fullest, to be able to, have a clear mindset. I think so. Movement, nourishment, I think, being present. And I put several things in this bucket, but like mindfulness, being grateful, having a solid morning routine, journaling, meditation. I know not everybody loves some of these things, but if you do these things for like 5 to 8 minutes a day, there's proven science that it changes your life. I think the other thing would be is like sleep, right? We all need rest. Doing those things as we continue to age, and again, finding things that work for you and creating your own routine, but in those 4 categories, those 4 things are so powerful. And as we age, we some of those things fall off. But I think focusing on those actually creates a super strong mindset for us to be able to embrace ourselves and be able to stop the negative, the negative self-talk. Oftentimes the negative self-talk is because it's so ingrained, it's become a habit.
Yeah.
And, so I love that you talked about like you're catching it. Like that's the first step, like just knowing it's happening and then catching it and then changing that construct of how you're talking to yourself is so
absolutely
critical.
I also think that even for some of the things, like I just ordered I never journal. And that's something that I'm going to add to my life. And, I know you said 8 minutes, but for me, I think even if I just write a sentence, maybe the next day, then it's another sentence. I am not going to put myself on a restricted, it's got to be, 10 minutes, or even meditating or walking, even if you just walk to the mailbox and back. I think that if you just start, that's a beginning. Just start. Do anything. Just buy the book to journal, and then people don't have to feel so much pressure. Make it a natural flow in your life so that it's enjoyable. I'm looking forward to my journal. I bought a pretty one because I'm, like I said, that girly girl, and I'm going to want to write in it just because the book is so pretty.
I love that. I too like to have pretty journals, but I did talk to somebody who said every time she gets a pretty journal, she doesn't want to mess it up. So she realized it was preventing her from journaling. So she had to get one that wasn't so pretty.
Oh, that's funny.
Alicia, what an amazing episode. Thank you so much for being here today. I know we could go on and on because it's so easy to talk to you, and I love having you on. Where can people find you if they are struggling with whatever transition, whether it's aging or in your career or in parenting? Where can people find you to connect with you online?
Yes, I am on Instagram. It's Alicia Ayala. And it's underscore, so it's underscore Alicia underscore Ayala. And then I'm also on Facebook, and then LinkedIn as well. So you can find me there. And, thank you guys. Thank you so much for having me. I did want to mention, yes, you can find me on social. And I'm currently I have a private Facebook group called the WIT Collective, so Women Inspiring Together. And I'm hosting this month a book club where we're going to read The Miracle Morning, which is all about bolstering your morning and creating this amazing morning routine to create a beautiful day, week, life, all of those things. So I would love if people are interested, they can come and join in the Facebook group. It's free. Would love to have
Eva, can't we put that also in our notes for today? For if people look on the show, if they don't have a pen, they can always go back down. We'll put it in the notes
for sure. I'll do that right
great.
After. Yeah. Thank you, Alicia, so very, very much. Thank you, best friend Shelley, and thank you everyone else for being here today. You can find us online at settolove.com, and you can email us at settolovepodcast@gmail.com. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Have a great day, everyone. Tomorrow, hit the bell. Tomorrow, we're talking about dealing with bad news. How do you handle when things are tough? See you guys tomorrow. Have a great day.
Bye.